So we are in the car on the way home, and maybe you can see behind us here, that is Sureño in the truck just behind us here. Sureño is now castrated. He is now a gelding for, well, we think he's castrated. He is doing really, really well. There's no swelling, there's no infection, there's no complications, and the surgery went beautifully. The clinic was amazing, and I want to thank everybody for their well wishes. I know how much so many people are really, really attached to this horse and his journey, even though he's part of my business now, and maybe you're seeing less of him than you did in the past. I want to thank everybody for wishing him well and for wishing me well. I wanted to make this video to share with you the entire process start to finish. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'm going to be doing like an abbreviated version so that you're not watching like all the gory details, but I actually managed to film the entire operation, and anyone who's interested in seeing the entire operation can watch that on my Patreon for a small subscription fee. This is really for like those nerdy people who are really interested in what the procedure looks like and all of the details. So I didn't miss almost a second of the entire operation, and you can watch that on Patreon. I've also got like a separate video here where I discuss why castration can be an option for a stallion generally, not just about this horse, but just a little video advocating for castration and for gelding of horses, because it's come to my attention that there is a growing concern about gelding of horses and if this is a good thing to do, if this is healthy for horses, if this is good for them. And I'm a big advocate of it in the right circumstances. So I wanted just to make another video there that kind of explored that in more detail and just presented some of the facts about castration and how good this can be for horses and why you might want to do it for your stallion. Thank you for joining, and if you're interested in the details about Sureño'S procedure and his health at the moment, watch this video until the end, because the procedure revealed a few interesting things that were unexpected for everybody, and it has an impact on both his past and his future, and so I'm going to share those with you at the end of this video.
Anyway, sometimes the testicle that is inside is like this, and then it's very difficult to differentiate.
Because he's big horse with lots of space.
Yeah. It's impossible to look everywhere.
Yeah.
The normal testicle, and this is the. And sometimes are smaller than this one.
So you're looking for a needle in a haystack.
That's right.
It's like a plum compared to a giant mango.
Yeah.
Actually, it's not a plum, it's like a small apricot.
Yeah.
Don't.
Yeah. And sometimes it's smaller. Sometimes, eh?
Okay.
Because here there are some testicle tissue differentiated. But sometimes it's difficult to differentiate.
Okay. All right. Well,
Fascinating.
I'm trusting. It's okay, buddy. It's okay, buddy. You're a good boy. You're a good boy. stallionness. Silly stallions. No, not you. Take a nap. Is she gonna... So I hope that recap of the procedure wasn't too traumatizing to watch, because generally speaking, the whole procedure was really no big deal. And I mean, the clinic was really amazing, and they were very, very careful and very considered, and did lots of tests and really checked everything 2-3 times before they actually changed anything. And we were really in great hands. So now that it's the end of the video, I thought I'd kind of explain a little bit more what's been happening behind the scenes. So, you know, Sureño came to me a stallion, and when I saw him initially last summer, I noticed that he had only one testicle. And I said to Matt, oh, he only has one testicle. He said, yeah, he lost the other one in an accident when he was younger. And that's also what his paperwork says. He's a registered Spanish or Andalusian breeding stallion, registered with the ANTHE, which is the association, the Andalusian Horse Association. And so we all trusted the paperwork. As his new owner, was that my intention would probably be to geld. This was one of my first things I said to Matt. And Matt said, whatever the new owner wants to do with them is up to them and is their choice, and he supports that choice as well. He's so gentle. This horse is so gentle and so balanced and so soft and so smart and so calm. And some stallions are not that. Some stallions, the hormones raging through their system has really kind of fried their brain, and they can be not only a hazard to other people but a danger to themselves, and it impacts the quality of their life. I'll discuss that a little bit more in another video, but Sureño was not that. He was so good, and even when exposed to mares on the other side of 2 fences, it didn't take very much for me to ask him to bring his attention off the mares and back to the conversation with his trainer or his human. And I've got some videos up where I've actually shown what that looked like and how easy it was for him just to change his mind about mares. And some stallions can't. They fixate on mares. So when he came and I saw how great he was and how happy he was and how well he had been cared for in the past, because stallions do not present themselves so mentally healthy like Sureño did if they came from situations that were not good for them. So it's so obvious that this horse has had a really great quality of life, because otherwise he wouldn't be as mentally healthy as he is. So the temptation for me was, well, maybe I can leave him a stallion. Maybe he's perfect the way he is. There's no need to change something, no need to fix what isn't broken. So I thought very seriously about leaving him the way he is and having him be a demonstration of what a stallion's life can look like when they're integrated into a herd with other geldings. I've been really seriously weighing up the pros and cons for keeping him how he is or by gelding him. And while I was dealing with his feet and we were watching him settle in and relax and reveal different parts of his personality, because he takes some time to warm up to people, he always has apparently. One of the things I asked for was that we got our vet out at the stable to do a pre-castration health check and assessment, because he has one testicle and the paperwork and the history reports that he lost the previous testicle in an accident. I wanted to be extra careful and make sure that my vet really assessed everything properly first before we made any decision. And and I got some information before we made any decision. I tried to investigate exactly what the accident was that caused one of the testicles to be lost. I got in contact with Nuria as well, and I asked her, and she didn't really know either exactly what this accident was. And I also wrote to the breeder. I sent them an email and I asked them, I have this horse from you. I sent the microchip number and his passport, and I said, look, the paperwork says that he lost a testicle in an accident. I'm looking to potentially castrate him, and to do this safely and correctly, I kind of need to know what that accident was so that we're not taking a surgery on something that we're like opening a Pandora's box of problems in that area. And I didn't get any reply from them. Our local vet came out to assess Sureño in early November, and he is a vet who does lots of castrations every month in our local area. He always does it standing up, and he's got a really good experience level with this. And he went in for a physical exam, and his eyebrows went like this. And he looked at us and he went, something's not right, because he couldn't find any scar or sign that there was a prior surgery for removing of a testicle. And when there is only one testicle visible and no scar showing an obvious sign that one was removed, then it is his responsibility as a vet to question the paperwork and offer me as the owner the possibility that the paperwork might be mistaken and that this horse wasn't born with two testicles, that he is a cryptorchid, which means that there is a single undescended testicle remaining up inside a horse. And it's actually a rather common thing. Many horses must be castrated if they are, if a horse is a cryptorchid, they must be castrated unless you want to run the risk of them passing this genetic abnormality onto their progeny, or the internal testicle is at a higher risk of infection and testicular cancer. Usually the testicle that is up inside the horse's body is much, much, much smaller, and it is exposed to higher body temperatures, and it can become diseased really quickly. It can sit there like a ticking time bomb for years and years and years. It can also have an effect on gait, especially at upper levels of performance. The discomfort it might cause and the space that the internal testicle takes up inside. It can even sit high up inside, up near the hip and the pelvic processes, up near the bones. It can really migrate high up inside the body. It can cause movement asymmetries, and we know that Sureño has had some physical challenges with his soundness, and that he'd had some symmetrical issues, especially at high levels of his training. And so the picture started to come into focus. I was dealing with several facts, and as soon as my vet said to me that there is a possibility that Sureño might be a cryptorchid, my decision was made that even though I liked the idea of keeping him perfect and how he is, and letting him be a demonstration of how a horse can be kept, a stallion might be kept in a herd, because of the potential that he had an internal testicle, my decision was then to gelt him, or at the very least take him to a hospital where they could discover if this was the case. And so what the surgeons found, we did multiple ultrasounds and a very thorough internal physical exam in the urogenital tract. So in the area where the testicle is normally found, they did a thorough investigation, and they found no internal testicle inside his body, either from the physical exam or the ultrasound. And that might make me believe that, okay, maybe he did lose the other testicle in an accident. But they also did not find any scar anywhere, either on the scrotum or higher up on the side where it's typically done at hospitals. They did not find any scar on the abdomen in case it was an abdominal hernia that caused the testicle to be lost. They really looked carefully. There was no scar tissue, no sign of incision or opening, or even a laparoscopy, a small incision where the testicle was removed. So we found, in a very qualified environment, no sign that he had lost a testicle before, and also no sign of the testicle inside where it should be. There are two possibilities. One possibility is that Sureño was born with only one testicle, which is possible. It's like being born with one kidney, you know, it's just a genetic abnormality. And in that case, he shouldn't be a registered stallion anyway, because you don't want to pass this abnormality on to other horses. The second possibility is that the paperwork is mistaken. For what reason, I don't know. I also don't care what the reason is that the paperwork is mistaken. I only care about this horse's well-being. And so if the paperwork is mistaken, we will find this out in 3 months' time. In 3 months' time, we will conduct a blood test, which is a very non-invasive way to discover if there is still an organ inside his body producing testosterone, which means that there is still a testicle inside, but it has migrated inside his pelvis to a place it really shouldn't be. If that is the case, then he will need a second surgery, and that might be a laparoscopy that we could do standing up in the field. It might not be necessary to take him to a clinic and put him under the stress of an anesthesia again, which I would like to avoid. If he does have a testicle inside, my question was to the surgeons, well, why didn't you go looking for it deeper today? They said, he is too big, and it is too risky for us to go looking for the testicle in a different location today. Because if the testicle is up inside his pelvic cavity and not in the urogenital tract where it should be, it means that it's a whole different cut. They have to cut him open in a different place and make an unplanned exploration of him in a different location. And they said for his size, it was too risky because he's so big, they would have to go up to their elbow to go find it inside his body. They said on smaller horses, when they have this issue, and they have seen this issue before on smaller horses, they might have risked looking in other places for it. But because of his value, because he's a well-known horse, and because of his size, they didn't want to risk it today. They were being conservative. And instead of making the risk of potentially causing surgery complications for him under anesthesia and making him under anesthesia longer than he needed to, they decided, why don't we just wait 3 months, because a blood test will tell us if we got it all or not. If the blood tests come back and say there are no testicles left, then we know this horse was only born with one testicle and the paperwork was mistaken. And if the blood tests come back and say that there is a testicle inside, then we will then take the steps towards finding it and removing it. I want to remove it because if we have an organ inside his body where it shouldn't be, the risk of infection, the risk of asymmetrical biomechanical changes, and the risk of testicular cancer is higher, and I want to avoid that. I want him to be happy and healthy. So that's the mysterious news for him. If you wanted to see a discussion about castration, stallions versus geldings as a general discussion and debate separately, I've prepared another video about that, and I'm going to load that for you. So the most important thing is he is okay. He has recovered really, really well, and we are not anticipating any major changes to his character or to his physicality. He's still going to be the same horse, just with less testosterone-fueled behaviors, which in him are mainly frustration and stress related. So that's the story, and thank you for listening.